Welcome to the Sharkpreneur podcast with Kevin Harrington and Seth Greene. Kevin Harrington is the inventor of the infomercial, one of the original sharks from the hit TV show Shark Tank, and has generated over $5 billion in TV and digital direct response sales. Seth Greene is the world's first trusted authority on cutting-edge direct response marketing, a best-selling author, and the only 3-time Marketer of the Year nominee. On the podcast, Kevin and Seth interview sharkpreneurs who share straight talk on what it takes to explode your business.
49 faces looked to him in triumph. Over the last 12 months, they had each taken turns and promoted his business for a week at a time, driving over $987,342 in revenue. What if you had a network of 50 centers of influence who promoted your business every week for a year? Grab your copy of the #1 Amazon best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Growing Your Business with a Podcast, at 33% off the Amazon price by going to ultimatepodcastbook.com. Again, that website for 33% off the Amazon price is ultimatepodcastbook.com. Welcome to the podcast. This is your co-host, Seth Greene. Today, I have the good fortune to be interviewing Dr. Emily Splichal from Naboso. Dr. Emily, thanks so much for joining us.
Such a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Our pleasure. So let's go back in time and talk about how you got into the practice of medicine in the first place.
Absolutely. So my background is movement. I was a competitive gymnast for 13 years, switched from that into fitness. Long or short version of that is I kept getting injured. So I knew that I needed to go to a graduate school program that allowed me to still focus on movement, which is what my passion was. That's where I came into podiatry school. And then when I first was getting out of podiatry school, this is when the barefoot running boom was happening. This is very important and very pivotal to my story. 2008, 9, 10, that's when the Born to Run book came out. If people are familiar with minimal shoes, Nike Free, Vibram 5 Fingers, etc. I was in the fitness space teaching, and I saw an opportunity to really focus and be the fitness professional slash podiatrist, which is the only one really in the world that I know of, that could own this topic where the background of the podiatry increased the credibility of what I was speaking on. So from there, went back to school, got my master's in human movement. And in my mind, having a background in fitness, being a podiatrist, and then my master's in human movement was really the glue or the link between these two professions that allowed me to carve the niche of what I have now, which is really human movement specialist, functional podiatrist, and then I take a very unique approach with barefoot science and the sensory side of feet and movement.
Awesome. And I'm sure the longer version of that story could probably be in a book somewhere if it isn't already.
Yes.
All right. So talk about the transition from podiatry in probably a regular bricks and mortar practice to how Naboso came to exist.
Yes. So background in movement, very important, because as I was going through podiatry school, started questioning a lot of things. I was taught one perspective because of my movement background. I kept asking myself, I don't think that that's the full story. I am also a person that challenges dogma and beliefs. So I'm like, I don't think this is it. So started to explore more into other functional modalities, breath work, fascia, photobiomodulation. So a lot of holistic alternative functional medicine, understanding that there was so much more to the story than just traditional Western medicine and biomechanics of traditional podiatry. Through there, I created my own education company called EBFA Global, traveled all around the world from 2012 to still now I do, created education programs around barefoot science, was a consultant for other fitness and movement companies, was a consultant for Nike Innovation Kitchen, different top footwear companies that allowed me to explore and question the programming and the methodologies that are out there. I knew that there was a lot more to the story. I knew there was a lot more that we could offer people to access the power of the human foot. Short version of that is that I was approached by an engineer who was working for another company I was consulting with, who I had said, I have ideas for foot products, didn't really know. He came to me and I was like, I guess the world is telling me I'm supposed to create a physical product now. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. but I knew that I wanted to access the foot once you had taken the shoes and socks off. So a barefoot product. I was reading a lot of textured insole research. So what I wanted to do was use that research of texture and create our first product, which was a barefoot training mat. And that was our first product. Fast forward now, 7 years later, we have over 40 products. We have 4 granted patents, another 8 pending patents, and all of the products are featured around texture, which is stimulating the small nerves in the bottom of our feet.
That is absolutely incredible. What a journey you have been on. I'm sure it wasn't all roses and sunshine. What have been some of kind of the adversities you've overcome and the lessons you learned along the way?
I would say definitely in the beginning, presenting and trying to get funding and getting into accelerators and just the whole startup journey of what it was is being told that I am just a doctor, not a CEO. That was a very hard hit. And unfortunately, doctors are not taught about business. So I do not have an MBA. I've now learned through the School of Hard Knocks to shape and understand consumer products, import, export, the logistics, the demand plan, obviously getting funding. So there were all these different milestones of shaping me as a leader and just the taking ownership that I am a leader. A CEO is a leader, and a founder has to be able to maintain the vision of the company. So some of those hurdles were just personal growth hurdles. Some of it was funding hurdles. And then a lot of it is really understanding how to navigate the team, finding the right team members to help the company grow. So now we just closed a round in December for 3 million. So that was our largest funding round that we closed to date.
Congratulations.
So I'm very proud of that, which allowed us to expand our team, which is what we're doing right now, focusing in Q1, and then allowing me to really look at what I want as the next stage of growth for the company.
Congratulations. That is one heck of a ride. 40 different products. I would imagine you're integral in helping develop all of those, right?
Yes, so I work with our engineer in our factory and I oversee all of the research and development because the uniqueness of the texture has to deliver a specific utility and match the science of it. And then I'm also in charge of overseeing really the marketing strategy. So how do we sell a new product through the story that I have to formulate for the content and the marketing?
Well, so that perfect segue. So let's talk about the marketing. What are you doing to get the word out? Because if you're not, I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're not part of the barefoot movement, movement, you have no clue that there's a problem and you don't know that there's a solution, right?
Exactly. So what I've also found is that our customer conversion um, timeline is a little bit slower than other ones. We're not fashion. It's not something fun that you're seeing on social media and then you just convert and purchase it. So education is really, really important. People don't know there's a problem. So I have to first convince them about the importance of their feet, the role of the feet in movement, the role of the feet in movement and longevity, and then create the solution through these evidence-based, easy to use, effective products, right? So it's a little bit longer journey that they take to get people into the funnel. Of course, we're doing ad buying, content, SEO, social media. We do a lot of conferences. So I will speak globally still at conferences. We'll do the trade show booths. Part of our strategy is to hit the direct to consumer on the bottom. And then the others to hit the professional. So that would be the physical therapist, the neurologist, the chiropractor, who then refers to their patients or their athletes, which then feeds the D2C channel as well.
So that's all of the things, right? So congratulations on all of that. It sounds like you've done a good job evolving from being, and I love the just a doctor to, I don't think anyone has ever said that ever, like into also being a CEO. So what's your biggest challenge now?
The biggest challenge now would be maintaining the same revenue growth pace. I think that from a revenue milestone to go from 100,000 to 500,000 is easier, right? So you can keep 2xing it or 3xing it until you reach a certain revenue, then it is harder and harder to 2x the revenue. So right now we have our forecast. We have part of the investment is that they wanted very strict governance and these processes. Our board, the board approval process for different decisions, we have a very strict budget that is board approved, and we are held to that budget, just so that we can focus on profitability and hit these forecasts. So I think for me, the new challenge is achieving that through the constraints of a preconceived or approved budget, where I'm used to being a CEO and decision maker of a little more opportunistic, meaning, oh, there's an event, can we do that to seize this potential? But oftentimes those less calculated, more opportunistic ones don't provide the return or the ROI that you need to justify profitability. So it's a new process to be under this governance in this process. But to me, having a background in medicine, especially residency in hospitals where there's a lot of governance and processes, it kind of brings me back to my medicine roots, which I actually like.
Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
The impact that I'm making in people's lives and any feedback stories that people share, to me, that's what keeps me motivated.
Awesome. And are you still practicing as a podiatrist?
Very, very little. Most of my patients are virtual. I do not have time to see more than 5 patients a week. So if I see 5 patients, that is good. Rest of it is really product testing, the marketing. Part of the raise allowed us to bring on a head of ops, and he is my right brain. He is literally here and he is in rhythm with me to make sure that all of the operational side of things, such as accounting, et cetera, stays moving forward so I can stay on the content marketing creative side. And I'm also the face of the brand. So I have to be able to do that as well.
That is awesome. How do we know as a consumer, how do we know if we're a good prospect for the products? How do we know if we need Naboso?
Well, everyone needs Naboso, so there you go. That is easy. If you have feet or hands, because our products focus on both, you are a customer. Where I would say we focus on primarily is really the activation or the awareness of the feet. So using the products in the morning and the evening to connect to your foundation, to strengthen your feet. Everyone could use for more foot strengthening because it's our body's foundation, and then for foot recovery. And again, your feet take a beating with every step that you take. Most people take 5,000, 10,000 plus steps a day. Those feet need to be recovered. Our products are super easy and effective to utilize. One example is our recovery sock. You literally slide it on, walk around your home, and you're recovering your feet.
That is awesome. Where should our viewers or listeners go if they want to learn more?
Yep. So our website is naboso.com. Naboso is spelled Naboso.com. We are available on Amazon as well. And then our social media on Instagram is Naboso_technology. If people want to see kind of what the conversation is about it on social media. And then we have a strong YouTube channel with a lot of videos and exercises using our products.
Awesome. We greatly appreciate your time. We know it's incredibly valuable.
Thank you.
This has been Seth Greene with Dr. Emily Splichal from Naboso.com. Dr. Emily, thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody, for watching or listening. We'll see you or talk to you next time.
Why do so many businesses struggle while others seem to explode overnight? Do you wish you had the secret to this type of exponential growth? Now, I've scaled more than 20 businesses to over $100 million, and it's not just luck. In my new book with Mark Tim, Mentor to Millions, you'll learn the repeatable framework I use in all my business ventures for massive success. Order at kevinmentor.com and get over $1,000 in bonuses. Head to kevinmentor.com.